Perfect. Okay, and at this point, let me unmute Gerry, and I'm guessing that Charlotte, you're unmuted. So why don't you guys go ahead and get kicked off, and away we go.
I think we agreed that Charlotte's got some announcements to make to start with, and a couple stories to tell. Then I'll tell a couple, but go for it, Charlotte.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who made it on this call live, and I have gotten some text messages of a few people that are going to be joining us mid-journey, which works as well. But we did want to take some time to recognize some of our coaches that in the first 30 days of their business just took off with wings and flew and did so well, not only onboarding clients, but then also coaching them through their first 7 days and then their first 30 days. Becky, I see your refrigerator's open, but Becky was one of our new senior coaches, and she has been—
Way to go, Becky.
Yes, she has been leading the way in the Bay Area, and she's been the top performer in her region. So we're just so thankful for her passion and her follow through. We have two ladies in the Virginia, Philly area. Jessica and Kate both hit senior coach as well. They are in the same studio, and so
wow.
They have for 10 clients on program, and they've already started to take this outside the studio, helping their friends and family start to get healthy too. So we saw those new senior coaches. We saw some really established trainers like Wayne Fernandez hit manager, which was really exciting. So we've seen growth in areas we've been established, but then we've seen incredible growth in some new regions as well. I talk with Katrina a lot, who's on the call, and her studio, there is such a great energy and just this incredible passion. We're talking with clients every week, and they're wanting more. And I think what's so neat across the board with all of our coaches, we're really seeing clients want to, for lack of a better expression, want to drink deeply. They really do want the full Optavia offering. So this is no longer, eat 5 things and lose the weight. This is truly about the well-rounded, optimal well-being. So it's been really, really neat to see clients and coaches embrace that full opportunity available to them. So Perfect Workout had its best month ever in August, which was incredibly exciting. And we're just really looking to not leave that on the mountaintop. So we're really wanting to make sure that we don't coast on the coattails of a successful month. We want to keep doing better. And so I'll end with that famous Maya Angelou quote that once you have learned to do better, do better. So
Awesome.
Very good, Charlotte. That's wonderful. I want to make sure that I express my appreciation to all of you. You are an inspiration. And when she said that we've done better than we've done in the past, it's not just a itty bitty bit better. This has been a great month. And I think we've got an even better month coming this month and next. These are going to be exciting times for all of us. I thought I would start off by something very practical. I'm here in British Columbia. I'm on Victoria Island. I'm up here for a board meeting. And the tricky part about travel is that when you're traveling, you always have to worry about being off plan. And so I just want to show you, give you a demo of, this is called On Plan on the Road. It starts with a little baggie here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give you the first side of it. This is called What You Eat on Airplanes Instead of Those Cookies and that other stuff, and what you do up until you have that evening lean and green. Every morning, you start off with calorie burn cappuccino. And then, of course, right now I'm having a lovely energy-infused, calorie burn infused water. So I just want you to know that's what allows me to stay on plan when I'm on the road. I was just mentioning it even works on cruises. Took a 15-day cruise and ended up a half a pound lighter coming off. By the way, the person in the next room to me was 18 pounds heavier. But anyway, which I'm not sure was a record on the boat, but it could have been because there was food everywhere. So I just wanted to kind of give you something a little practical as we get started. I will say something about the energy infusers and the calorie burn drinks. You probably know there's been significant research done on those drinks as an adjunct to what we're doing. And if you're having a client who's kind of stuck, you know, they're in their first weeks, they're just kind of not making the progress, you might want to suggest that 3 glasses of water during that day should actually have one of those calorie burn or the energy infusers, because the research shows that with those 3 glasses of water, they'd have a 7% increase in metabolism throughout the 24-hour period. And the other thing you should tell them is not to drink it before bed. Okay. But I've had several of my clients that have had some problems, give them a little kickstart, and then all of a sudden they've, and this is especially true for the people who are more sedentary. But there you go. All right. I think we are going to, we're now going to kind of move along to talking about, well, I think Debbie's going to give us a little bit of review. Is that right, Doug?
That is correct. And before we move on from here, what I would like to say is good job as a client. That is exactly how you want to prepare to both lose weight and maintain weight when you're traveling, when you're on cruises and stuff. And then I'd like to give your coach a pat on the back for sharing that kind of information. Thank you with you. So
good job, Doug.
So anyways, yes, at this point, let's go ahead and turn it over to Debbie, and she's going to give us just a little bit of a review and then connect in with from last year.
Last year?
Or from last 2 weeks.
Last year, last week, last month, whatever.
Well, we talked about a couple of things. One of them was authenticity and leading with your own health. And we're just going to be really authentic. Doug got distracted and called it last year because his beautiful wife walked in the room.
Yes, I get very distracted
for a moment there. But anyway, so yep, we talked about a couple of ways to bring attention to what you're doing in open conversations there at the Perfect Workout. One is certainly, you know, having the infusers in your water and having a bar on your desk and shaking a shake and leading with your own health. That's fantastic. And another one is just having those questions with your general clientele. Don't even judge like, oh, this person needs to lose weight and this person doesn't, because almost everybody can work on their nutrition and their habits of health, regardless of what their weight's at, right? We don't need to be prejudging them, but just asking them, so, you know, what are you here working on? And if you could improve something on your health, what would that be? And then especially if you're doing an explore, getting a little deeper. We don't want to just hear, well, I'd really like to lose 10 pounds. And obviously they need a lot more than that, and we never argue on that, right? But so asking them another question here, are you on any medications? How's your sleep? Getting some of those things uncovered so you can establish with them what kind of changes they could expect in their life. And then you can ask them, remember this? What would you like to see different in your health? And how would your life be different? And taking a pause and letting them kind of dream about that a little bit, because that's a really powerful thing for them. And you want to take notes on that, because as what Doug and Wendy are going to take us into today, talking about how we launch clients successfully on a program, how we get them set up for success, how we integrate them into this as not thinking of it as a diet, but as a lifelong transformation. You establishing their why is just so important. And I really enjoyed having a chance to talk about that last week, and I hope you guys have had some fun just connecting with people, because it really is all about caring about them, finding out what they need, building relationship. The coaching piece is all about the relationship and them opening up to you and building trust. So with that, Doug, once we have their trust, we know what they need. How do we make it all come true?
So let's make a run with it. Okay. So if I could ask Wendy to come up here for just a moment to make sure I push the right buttons. And what I want to do right now for just a moment is I want to talk a little bit about the best practices for high client success ratios. So what can we do as a health coach? And I'm going to use this from a perspective of not just a health coach, but a health coach and a personal trainer. What can we do that's going to assist our clients to really get started well, to get going in the first week?
Matt Hedman's on, Doug.
Pardon me?
Matt Hedman is on.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. And let me make sure that I've got him muted. So maybe here we go.
You want me to do that?
Yes, there we go. He's unmuted. You're good to go. Okay.
So I know all of you know we've got a very special guest. Probably most of you have not heard of this guy, but he's joining us tonight, and I want you to know he has made a very special effort to be on with us, and this is Matt Hedman. I got to tell you something. I've been working with Matt now for about 4 years, and this has been, of all of my clients that I've had, the Perfect Workout has been fabulous to work with. Probably absolutely my most fun. And one of the reasons is that Matt is such a great leader. So Matt's just dropping into, he's, by the way, I think on the road and maybe parked at the side of the road. So Matt, I'd like to say a few words to the coaches that we have on here.
So yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, so I connected successfully to. I was having a little bit of trouble connecting to the technology, and yeah. So everybody, sorry, I joined a little bit late. I actually had a meeting running up until 5, and then I'm Ubering back to my home office right now. And when I talked with Gerry, he said, "Oh yeah, you can pop on. Just so sorry for being late. It was, but I wanted to just to make sure that you all know that that I can see that we're making a lot of great progress in this nutrition program. And I want to personally thank each of you that's working with the program for being part of this launch. And it's taking off. And from what I understand, we have dozens of clients that have already had great success with weight loss and fat loss in the program. And we're just getting started. I'm sure it's going to get a lot bigger. So thanks for letting me join. And when my Uber ride ends, I'll probably have to cut out. So if it's before the end of the meeting, I apologize for that too. But I'll be on for as long as I can here too.
Oh, fantastic.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, and feel free to interrupt at any point in time. They get to hear from us whenever we're on, but it's a real privilege to have you with us here tonight as well. So
great, thank you.
If we're good to go, I'll go back into our topic for tonight. And what we wanted to talk about is what are some of the things that we can do as both a health coach and a personal trainer or people in the club environments to ensure the highest level of success with our clients. And I know that's what we all want to do, is help people with their health goals, to be able to accomplish those and to be able to move forward. So one of the first things I'm going to do is talk a little bit about utilizing the resources. And I know that with the Perfect Workout, you guys are utilizing some of the resources that you have customized, and that's great. I'm going to kind of do a screen share, and I'm going to walk through just a few things that we're finding in the Optavia resources that are helping us in our level of success. So with that, I'll share my screen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start first off with Office in Motion. So if you go to Office in Motion, and then you just come to your resources, and then you'll see right down, the next one down is Optavia Answers. And that's where you're going to go to for coach resources that you're going to want to utilize. I've got a few of them opened up, so I'm going to just kind of click through it. So then what you're going to see here is this is a screen it takes you to. You can see it's Optavia Coach Answers. And there's all kinds of different things you can pull in here. And maybe this is, just repeat for you guys, but I thought, again, it might be good to go through this. Here you click on Business Support. Once you've clicked on Business Support, it's going to get you to the Optavia Coach Answers document library. And what I'll do there quite often is I'll just hit Command Find. So Command F, so I know exactly where to go and what I want to plug in. One of the main things to utilize there then is, let's step in before we go here. For a welcome email, and maybe Charlotte, you can weigh in on this. You guys have customized the welcome email a little bit for the Perfect Workout. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct. Part of that welcome email is not only order details, but 100% about making sure that they reach out the minute things arrive on their doorstep. That night before a call is scheduled, they are fully aware of the open line of communication that's going to be happening, especially the first 7 days of program.
Great. Okay, perfect. So I'll move forward and then just kind of click through a couple of them. One of the first ones that we'll utilize is how to get a client started. And because they're kind of on this document page in various areas, I just know that that's what I'm looking for and can hit the Command Find and plug in how to get a client started. And this gives you a lot of great detail. It just kind of lays out for you everything from having the conversation with them, getting them through a health assessment, the well-being evaluation, various components through this. We don't utilize their welcome email. We've already talked about that. Asking them to take a good before photo. That has been something I didn't do a lot to start with, and it's become a huge resource. I think you guys do that more with more consistency at the Perfect Workout. So that's great, because there's nothing better for promoting your club, for promoting your training, for your various facilities, and for the health coaching than showing the pictures that have happened and the testimonies from your people. Talks about when their order arrives and so forth. So anyway, again, that's a great document and a resource for you just to remember exactly where you want to go. The next document that we head towards is essentially the how to get a client started. Is the kickoff card. And in the kickoff card, this basically covers what you're going to do on the night before and days 1 through 4, as well as you're kind of laying that out. And I'm not going to go through the details because we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail when we put Matt Engstrom on. The other thing that we utilize is the daily support texts. And we've taken these, and you can see down here how they're laid out then in message 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth through day 8. And what we've done is pulled these off and copied them in a place that's convenient for us. Wendy, I know, and I'll show her over. So she's sitting over there. Anyway, she has those on her iPhone in notes, and then we've customized them, and we can just copy, paste, and send those out. So what's that? Okay, so before they get their order, there's messages there as well. So anyway, it lays out some great resources for you there. I'm going to pull us off screen share, and at this point, I'm going to ask Matt Engstrom if you wouldn't mind kind of covering a little bit of the night before and some of the day 1 through 8 texts that we've talked about.
I'll be happy to, Doug. Thanks, Doug, for covering that. Just a little add to the progression of texts that we use. They're very simple in nature, but the intention of them is just to help that client move forward a little bit every day. Whenever anybody makes a decision to change their health outcome, and for some, this is a pretty significant change in life, these little touches make it very simple for all of you to give somebody something that moves them just a little bit. And that's the secret in all of this. It's a little bit that keeps them with a little bit of encouragement every day and a little bit of information. So Doug asked me to speak about the night before call, and I have I hold near and dear to this train of thought, and that is that night before call really is the creme de la creme of setting the course for those that are engaging and wanting to change their health outcome. And so when you do this call, when you have this in your outline, and Charlotte, correct me in here if I'm wrong, but you're using the night before video as well, that little 10-minute video that we use. Okay.
Right.
So, I've been coaching for a lot of years, and I tend to be overly relational. And that's all fine and dandy, but unfortunately it can eat up a lot of time and unnecessarily for the client. And so that video, if you send that out the day the day before they start, and have them watch that video and ask them to watch that, then when you meet with them and have that night before touch, that night before conversation, they're very well prepared at that point. There's really not a lot of work that you have to do other than to touch bases with them about what are you excited about? Are you prepared? Did you go through the Optavia guide in preparation for the next day? And what you're doing is collecting yeses on those things that are really important to them, versus having to go through and talk about, are you putting your meals all in a Ziploc bag for the next 7 days, and covering all of those little details that really are done by the video itself. And then you can spend more time talking about ensuring that they're actually really prepared. And then the main thing I always do on the night before call is I assure them that if they follow the guidelines of the program and they stay consistent with using the Optavia guide, that they can be assured that they will have predictable transformation, but they have to follow it. The other thing I tell everybody in a very nice and congenial way is I let them know this is their journey. And if they journey with you down this path and follow these little texts that come every day and stay connected a little bit in the beginning till they get to that place where their body kicks in, goes into fat burn, and they really start feeling well, they're going to move to a place that is just pretty darn cool, and they're going to experience a consistency in health gains that'll complement what they're doing. I'm going to speak in your terms, will complement the combination of the great program they're getting inside of the perfect workout in conjunction with the nutrition that they're now doing to achieve both healthy fat weight loss and all the gains they get from physical exercise. So it becomes a win-win. But the important point, and I share this with everybody, is stay connected. It's your journey. If you have any struggles, I'm right here. Send me a text. But it's your journey, and please stay connected so I can assist you to that place to where you just are thriving in new health. And I leave them with that thought every time, and I collect a yes. I'll say to them at the end, is this exactly what you're looking for? And I always get a yes, and not always do they ever do it 100% of the time. But the truth is, it starts that forming of a relationship where they become really consistent in following through, because this isn't, look, it's not easy and it's not hard. For some, it's a little more difficult, and what you want is that relationship intact and them using the tools to get over those little hurdles they may have. So that's what I do on the night before. It probably takes me 5 to 10 minutes to have that conversation. I allow for questions. Usually there's not a lot if they've done their homework, and we get them going. We say goodnight, and the next day I send the day one text first thing in the morning, that short little text, and they get that every day, and I go day 1 through 8. And Doug, am I doing this right? You want me to stay through 1 through 8 on this?
Correct. And also maybe if I could ask Charlotte to, she had I think a comment regarding the texts as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention for the perfect workout specifically, we can utilize the day 1 through 8 text messages, and don't forget, you can log them right in, pre-schedule them. It becomes a reflex. But remember to touch base with your clients. Again, something that I learned from Matt Hedman, it's called hip to hip. You meet them where they're at. If your client is not a texter and they're going to ignore you, then you need to schedule a phone call. So we want to make sure that we are always reaching out to the client how they communicate best. And I think that's so valuable because we're coaching them through their why, through their heart tingling goal. So we best be communicating how they're going to receive it best. Also, on day 1 of their program, remember that's when you onboard them in Athena. Athena is like our, for Doug and Matt Hedman, Athena is like our office in motion for the perfect workout. And we have authored day 1 through day 8 emails for every client in that specific area. So we onboard them day 1. They get an automatic email through our system for the first 7 days of their own program. And then they get a weekly email after that up to 3 months. That's all set up for you trainers and coaches. So you don't have to worry about that kind of communication. That's all done for you. And if you want to dive into that deeper, let's connect next week to dive deeper into that. But we set that all up in Athena to make this even simpler. So lean into the best practices we have. We've done a lot of the work for you. As Matt Hedman has told me repeatedly, don't reinvent the wheel. We've done it for you. And so you're able to just use that tool to the best of your ability.
Great.
Yeah, Charlotte, that's awesome. I didn't know 100% exactly how you did it, but I knew you were applying it. Those touches every day are just huge for people. Again, I have a little funny story I tell everybody the night before when I start them, and I should back up and share this with you because it really does break the ice with people. I tell them all this because the goal is by day 4 they get into fat burn, okay? Because that's where the joy happens. Because before that, they're getting all their nutrition for a daily basis, but they have restricted calories to the point their body's starting to give those off and they feel better again and they have energy. So those first few days are absolutely critical. But what I tell everybody is day 1's no big deal. Day 2, you might feel a little bit anxious and a little grumbly, just simply because this is a change. Your dietary habits have changed. your nutrition probably has improved, but you're not getting those calories, which isn't supporting your normal level of energy that you're used to getting from the calories you're intaking. So day 2, you could be a little bit angst. And day 3, I tell everybody, well, you're probably going to have that feeling, where's Matt? You might want to punch him in the nose just because of how you're feeling. And that makes everybody smile and laugh a little bit, you know. But the truth is that doesn't happen to everybody, but it does happen to some. So if you set them up and prepare them a little bit for what's potentially could happen, then they're prepared for it. And then I tell them on day 4, they'll all love me again and they'll be joyful because they've gotten that resource is opened up, and your body is now giving you what you need to support the caloric needs on a daily basis. Going back to day 1 through 8, though, those first 4 days are really important that you connect with people, because simply this, it is the toughest 4 days for some. And getting them through day 1 through 4 and making sure they get into fat burn assures you of something that's really critical, and that is trust is built. They're depending upon you, you're the coach, and if you develop that level of trust, you're just touching them a little bit with a quick call and saying, how's your day going? How are you feeling? What are you experiencing? But when they get to 4 and they experience it, it's kind of like, hooray, you know, you get to celebrate they got there because they know it. I mean, I get phone calls all the time from people saying, oh my gosh, I went out and mowed my front yard this morning. I haven't mowed my front yard in a year. And I'm serious. I get those kind of phone calls from people because it's such a shift in their nutrition. So that first night before call and those days are just really, and here's the play out of it, you guys. That bridge of trust that's built by your connections ensures them staying on track and on course. So after that, the weekly calls happen, and it's just rinse and repeat from that point forward. There's a word track for those calls, but literally it's rinse and repeat and love on your people. There's a couple pieces of the process Doug's going to talk about now, but thanks for letting me be on and share this tonight with you. I do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Hey, Doug, can I just pop in here 1 second? Absolutely. I'm going to be going through a dead spot here shortly, so I'll probably actually cut out, won't be able to actually say goodbye to you when I go through it. But just wanted to make sure to let you guys know when I go through that spot that not trying to be rude, and thanks for letting me be on the program or on the talk here. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you being on. Thank you.
Great having you.
Okay. Well, just moving right along with where we were there, one of the things I want to talk about at this point is what are some things that we've experienced in the amount of time that we've been doing this at Cascade, and in particular connected with, I want to connect in with personal trainers in particular, or I'll also bridge it. It's very similar for us as membership directors that are health coaches. And how can we ensure that we're going to have a really high success ratio of clients reaching their goals in weight loss, going through a transition and into maintenance? And what we've discovered is it really seems to be based on a lot of what we've talked about of how we launch a client, how we get them started, how we're empathizing with them, coming along through with their why, but it's also about how we do that weekly celebration call. And one of the keys that we've seen is, let's say, for example, as a personal trainer and you're seeing people coming through twice a week, we can have a tendency to just talk about their week and weight loss while we're in that venue. What we found is if we'll keep that venue primarily focused on the personal training, their exercise, and their connection here at the club, but yet still support them with what they're doing on program during that time, but set a separate call time up where we actually reach them by phone. And then we can have a little bit more expanded time where if they're struggling with different things, or they need help with something specifically, like Gerry when he goes on a business trip and telling them how to pack the bag and all that. Of course, he's taken it to a new level now, so he's become the master, because nobody travels more miles that I know than Gerry. Maybe Matt's traveling more than you are right now. I don't know, but
not close.
I think when I met you the first time, you were up to like 7 million miles or something crazy like that. But anyway,
8.5.
There you go. But anyway, that really has proven the people and the trainers that will set that call time up a specific day, a specific week, and also then allow that client to know that they can text them or contact them, and you'll get back to them when they have something comes up. Then the the success rate just goes up, and not by double, it goes up by like triple. So I just encourage you guys to kind of look at that and say, how have you guys structured that, and what's going to work best for you and for your clients. So,
Hey, Doug, can I cut in here just for a second?
Absolutely.
I want to say something about the celebration call, because I didn't think that much of it when in the beginning, meaning I was thought I had a right way to do things. I have found that one of the most important things on a celebration call is to actually use it as a time to introduce one of your coaches. And what I mean by this is get someone who is upline from you. And there are a whole bunch of us who are here to help you. But what you can do is introduce, if you make that a 3-person call, and for example, if I'm doing that call for one of the coaches, what my job is to pretty much support them. I don't have to say much, but I can say good things about the coach to strengthen that and give continued credibility to them. I can also listen to the dialogue and maybe add a few things. And after the call, the nice thing is that we have got a lot of experts, and they're there to help you, and they're there to give you those 3-way calls. If you don't take advantage of that, you're missing a big bet. You'd be amazed at how it will polish what you do and just add a little bit of oomph to your clients. So,
yeah,
Gerry, I'm so sorry. Can I say something real fast, Doug? The celebration call, coaches and trainers, again, this is something that we were wanting to bring the regional managers in on as well. Utilize me, your facility manager. This is purely to celebrate what has happened. You don't need to worry about somebody stepping on your relationship toes. This doesn't compromise your rapport with the client. If anything, we've brought in so Dana's the Texas regional manager. She's on client celebration calls with referrals, even in our studios. So really, if you send your regional manager a text message saying, hey, day 7, my client's down, 8 pounds or 7 pounds, can you hop on a 5-minute phone call to celebrate with them? We're trying to build that rapport in the studio as well as, and then of course expand it a little bit more, but just wanted to speak to how we're trying to really make that a very healthy, fostered environment.
That's excellent. Excellent. Well, it sounds like you guys really have a good track with that. One of the things that I'm going to cover just a few components of that that first celebration call, the one we really try to do week 1, and if we can't hit it on week 1, if we can just move it out somewhere between week 1 and week 2 and get that scheduled with a 3-way call, it's just magic. There's basically 4 components that we're going to do in that call. The first one is let's say I'm on the call and I'm working with you as a coach with one of your clients, and we're going to come in with, once the introduction is done, then we're going to ask that client, what are they most excited about? Well, this is after usually they've hit fat burning the first week's weigh in. They're excited about that. They've got hope for the future, and we just listen to them and we solidify and encourage them based on that. The second thing that we do is we promote you as an expert coach. We promote you as the personal resource for them. And, and we'll use, word phrases and such that really support you as a coach and build you up. We can say things about you that you can't say without sounding, conceited, so we'll just say good things about you. The next thing that we really do is we connect you in with the full community, or connect them in with the full community of support. The thing that we do know is if people will connect in with a deeper community and the resources, their level of success and longevity is so much more. And then the last component is we can say things that will encourage them as people begin to notice their weight loss, to pay health forward, to encourage, one of their friends or their family members that also are struggling with health or weight related things. In fact, I didn't, I kind of didn't do that as much for a little while because, I've been doing this a while and I've been doing lots of calls. And so it went a little bit radio silent with my coach mentor at this time was Matt Hedman, who was not getting very many 3-way calls from me. And so I said, okay, let's go ahead and do one. So I did one of the least likely guys that you would imagine. He's a guy from the fitness industry. He's a computer programmer. He builds websites. He just knows it all. trying to get him set up for his wedding and lose 25 pounds before he got married, which he did. And I just set it up with a 3-way call. Matt did that with him and just went to the pay it forward and introduced how he could do that effectively in a text that would go to both me and to the client as well, or to the coach, or to the client, to me and to his friend as well that he was referring, and just connecting us. And he did that, and as a result, I got 2 really good clients out of that are going to become club members. The guy is big in pharmaceutical sales and such, and he's trying to get healthy, so he doesn't have to take all the pharmaceuticals that he's selling. You know how that all goes. So anyway, it was just a great example, and to me, of, you know, you're never beyond that. It really does things that we can't do. Matt, would you maybe expand on that just a little bit more in some of your word phrases you use?
Yeah, I will, Doug. And just let me add, because obviously you all can hear the whole idea of a client celebration call maybe a little bit foreign to you on the surface, but they work. And statistically, just to give you an idea, I probably do 25 or 30 of them a week, every single week, and with coaches. And what ends up happening is there's 2 things. Well, as you walk through, one, they get to talk about what the client in a celebration call. The client gets to talk about what they're most excited about. The coach gets honored, as Doug has mentioned here. We talk about community and the importance of it and being with a group of like-minded people and how important that is in serving their long-term outcome. But the 4th component is all about how to pay it forward. So, you know, every one of your clients, when they start getting healthier, everybody's going to ask them, what are you doing? It happens to everybody. It's an inevitability, because I tell everybody, go stand in a grocery store and do a 360 and look around, and 70% of everybody that they see is either non-sick, not healthy, non-sick, or sick, meaning their weight has got them in a place, and their habits have got them in a place that isn't all that good, obviously. So when someone like that reaches out to somebody that's improving their health, they'll say, wow, you look good, or what are you doing, or whatever the case may be. And really what that person that's reaching out is doing is really raising their hand for help. They may not say that, but that's really what they're doing. I mean, there might be a few compliments in there, but really behind the scenes, for somebody who's unhealthy, they really want help. So what I teach everybody in this conversation is real simple. Just know that that's kind of what's happening. You get the opportunity to pay your gift forward. And how cool is it for the client, one of your clients, to be able to help somebody change their health outcome? And no different than what I do for Cascade or others, is that you get to obtain, what'll happen is you train your client how to have that conversation. If you have them give them your name and number to reach back to you, I bet it's 1 in 50. What I train everybody to do is I let them know the importance of how important that question is when it comes to, man, you look, or wow, you look good, or boy, you've changed, or what are you doing? It's somebody that most likely has tried to get out of the box of poor health so hard, and they've failed so many times. What you have to understand, and I was one of those people for 51 years of my life, that raising my hand to do another thing is hard. So when somebody reaches out and says, what are you doing? If you just tell them to give them my name and number, most likely they'll go back in fear and never use that number.
Exactly.
What I train them to do is say, hey, I love the program I'm doing. I feel great. I'm learning how to change my habits, and I'm doing a real lifestyle change. I would love you to talk to my coach, and they'll explain the program to you only and answer any questions you may have. I'm going to connect you through a 3-way text, and you'll get to meet Karina. And she takes great care of me, and she's a great coach. And what ends up happening is that text takes place. The coach reaches out because now you have the name of the person, and you just say, hi, my name's Karina. Sorry, Karina, I see your name on here, or Katrina, I apologize. I'm just picking a name off the screen here. But Hi, my name's Katrina, and I just want to introduce myself and answer any questions because your friend introduced us here on through a group text about answer any questions about the program. That simple act works beautifully. It's very easy. They may respond, they may not respond, but the percentage of opportunity to be able to pay your gift forward to somebody else is huge by using that simple little system that really allows people to come in. Not only will you be able to have the opportunity to talk to somebody about getting them healthy, obviously acquire a client, but you stand a great opportunity to make it a big difference in their life. And third, you stand an opportunity for them to becoming a member of the Perfect Workout, becoming a client. So as the system works really well, that versus the other. And that's what the mentor coach actually does in that call, in a very soft, simple, casual, and trains your client how to go there. So it's, what are they excited about? Celebrate you, the importance of community, and how to pay the gift forward, and how that really influences them and their journey. And it works really well. In fact, I'll go on record to say, statistically, and in my business, somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 new clients come on every month. It is the #1 driver for long-term success and client growth, hands down. And that's statistically the same for everybody, all the other coaches in Optavia that I associate with. It's the main thing that everybody talks about, making a big difference. So not to overdo it on this, but if you utilize this particular opportunity between week 1 and week 2 to really celebrate your client, not only does it enhance your relationship, but it actually points them in a direction that makes a big difference in their journey. Thank you very much for allowing me to share that.
Hey, man, I'd like to jump in here again. One of the things that we work on in the Perfect Workout is getting referrals. As a matter of fact, I've been teaching people how to get referrals for about 725 years, I think. At least it seems that way some days. But what I'm going to tell you, just tell you, is very interesting. So, and I'll make it personal. One of my favorite success stories in this is my daughter. And my daughter, Kim, started, and besides the fact that she and I a chance to work together, this has been phenomenal for her. So she had a huge amount of success when she got on the program. She's lost about 35 pounds or more. I don't know exactly where it is right now. But as I tell everybody, she went from the girl that we took by the way, she's now making us take down the old family pictures. And she's sending us other pictures for our wall that have the new Kim, because she's not a matronly old 50-year-old lady anymore. She's now the girl that I walked down the aisle when she got married 27 years ago. So it's a huge thing. But here was the interesting thing. So I asked Kim a question. It was very obvious that she was so proud of what was going on, and she was using Facebook well. And by the way, she's not a coach. She's just a client, right? And I asked her this question. You might want to remember this question. Are other people noticing how you're doing? This works for the Perfect Workout, right? In our workouts, and the subtle ways of doing referrals will actually increase your referral rate incredibly. So that one question to my daughter Kim has basically given her 4 new clients. Now I'll tell you how she got the clients. I said, well, Kim, if people are noticing, why don't you just say, because I said, have any of them asked you, what are you doing? All she's got to then say is, I'd love to tell you, but what I'd really like to do is have a phone call with you where I can talk, and I want to introduce you to my coach. Sometimes she's even said, I just want my coach to talk to you about this. But by the way, she always comes on the call with me. It's another 3-way call, and all she's saying is, this is my coach. She sometimes says it's dad, by the way. But the point is that she has gotten 4 clients that way. And at some point, all I did with Kim was I said, Kim, you're doing so well. Are you having fun? She says, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, blah, blah, blah. I said, have you thought about being a coach? She said, yeah, I want to be a coach. So I just transferred her 4 clients in the first month because I figured she got those people. Now, the interesting thing was I went to, as I was doing this with her people, all I did in giving them their coaching is in each one of them, I asked that question. So are other people noticing? This is young ladies, actually my daughter's best friend, good friends, who've lost 15, 20, in some cases 30 pounds. And they're feeling wonderful. And when you talk to them, you can tell. And you know that they're being asked that question. And then, so that's the perfect question to ask, to then say, well, why don't you just, let's you and I call them, or you set up a time when you're going to tell them what we're doing, and use it as a 3-way call. You get it. I've said enough. You got it.
That is fantastic, Gerry. Thank you so much. I think we've got about 10 minutes and 30 seconds left. So maybe we could open it up for some Q&A. And so if anybody has a question, a comment, something that they want to make, you can just unmute yourself and state it. And then one of us could dive in and see if we could answer it, if that makes sense.
Hey, Doug, I got a texted in question. I feel like we're on a game show. Like, I've got a call.
Nice.
And they wanted it answered, and they wanted to hear from multiple people, and they definitely wanted it on the recording. Hey, Debbie. I have a client who is consistent to a fault almost Monday through Friday. I cannot get them to stick to the program Saturday, and they kind of restart Sunday, and then they're pissed Monday. And this person, and it's a longer story, but I think I would love to hear just some more thoughts about really getting back to their why, or helping them understand triggers. But I just love a couple people's thoughts, because I see this as a really a persistent pattern, and one of the hardest habits to break when we're looking at habits of health.
That's a good question. I think all of us coaches have dealt with that one.
We've all heard that one.
Yep. I'll just ask who wants to tackle it first.
I'll go first. Okay. Just because I'm trying to keep Debbie out there, because just seeing her smiling is worth just everything. So, all right. One of the questions that you have to ask people in your early week: what are you having the most trouble with? Because everybody's going to have trouble. So what are some of the things they can have trouble with? They can have trouble with snacks. They can have trouble with late at night. They can have trouble with weekends. They can have trouble when they go out. And so the first thing to do is make sure you ask that question up front. And then what you do is you've got to, of course, by the way, I'm a psychologist, and I'm used to talking to people where I'm trying to change their behavior, whether they're presidents of companies or whatever. So sometimes you got to be straightforward, and you got to say, do you want to solve this problem? If you're having trouble with snacks, do you want to solve this problem? You want to get them kind of saying, yes, I really do. Okay, good. Then what you know this is going to happen. You know when it's going to be. So prepare yourself for what you're going to do on, let's say, the weekends. Now, and if nothing else, you want to get them to talk to you about the things that they're doing that's bad on the weekends. But once again, if they're having the trouble, most of the time it means prepare yourself more for it. Be serious about planning your meals during the weekend, plan what you're going to do, and plan how you're going to go out and what you're going to eat when you go out, and some of those things. So that's the first thing. I know Debbie's got some other things she wants to say about this, but make sure you get them to actually try to create a plan for how to overcome that. And that's when I throw in little things like use the energy infusers during the weekend. Just don't start, put something on the refrigerator that says stop, things that remind them at the moment of sin that they're not supposed to do that.
Another good thing that can be done, and everybody heard it right here, is you can say, you know what, I'm a fairly new coach, and my business mentor coach, Gerry, I think would be happy to get on a call with us and maybe give you some advice. How's that?
Hey, that's good. And by the way, all of us would be happy to do that.
Absolutely.
And that way you've got at least two of you on the phone trying to solve this problem for people.
Absolutely. Debbie, do you have something?
Well, Gerry's absolutely right. The big thing is identifying, what are their hiccups, where are their challenges, and then having a plan. And then the third thing that's definitely a part of our conversations and training is the stop, challenge, choose. Getting, talking to them about, okay, so you have a plan. So when you're tempted and you're not going to feel good afterwards, stop, challenge your thinking. How bad do I really want to eat this meal or have this snack? How long is that pleasure really going to last? Am I going to be glad I do it? And then choose. And I actually like them to get a glass of water in between there also. If you can break their pattern long enough, go get a glass of water, drink your glass of water. If you still really want it, we're their guide. We're not their controller. They get to choose. But I find that if people have a plan and then they stop, challenge, and choose, buy a little time in there, that it helps them make better choices also.
Yep.
That's
And
excellent.
one other thing, if you have actually done a good job of identifying the why for that person, one of the things you can do, if you know they have trouble on the weekends, if you can get a picture that you can text to them or send to them that is a reminder of their why. If what they want is to be able to play with their grandchildren, you have them playing with does everybody understand? But what you're doing is you're giving them a little inoculation before it also. And the other thing is, for most of these people, they would like to control this when they're in their right mind. That's what they'd like to do. But at the same time, then they get right to the bridge and they don't do it. So you can tell them that they can actually work on controlling their own behavior with reminding themselves of the why. Some of them can put a little picture on their cell phone, and you say, okay, before you do it, what you do, we're going to do it, you go on and you look at these 4 pictures on your cell phone, because all it's doing is getting you back into, this is important for me.
And
by the way, we're never going to stop people from breaking, doing some bad things at sometimes.
Charlotte.
Thank you. Debbie, I just wanted to tag on stop, challenge, choose. Coaches, trainers, you can only teach that if you are doing it yourself. If you do not stop, challenge, choose in your own life, and I'm not talking just with food, but really look at where you can introduce that into your life. If you have children, for some of our coaches that have kids, teach them stop, challenge, choose, even in regards to behavior and not just picking food. I think it's a huge mind shift change that can help so many people. So just understand, find places where you can stop, challenge, choose, and be successful, because that will make you a far better coach when it comes to a client that's struggling with stop, challenge, choose.
Excellent. Excellent.
So if I can add one last thing to this. So all of you have, and you're going through your certification, have Dr. A's book, correct? Okay. So if you go in through chapters 1 through 3, it's all about the brain. And if you attach the companion guide to it, they actually make you work through exercises that directly relate to stop, challenge, choose. And that's why the best thing for your clients is to make sure they get Dr. A's book. So right out of the gate, it talks about this exact issue. And so it talks about triggers, choices, and things that come up in our lives, no different than this particular experience. He actually teaches and has you go through an exercise, what are the obstacles and what are the solutions that lead you right to a perfect stop, challenge, choose. You're getting the same answer just from all of us and from different ways. But the truth is, what you want to do is use the tools and send your clients there, because that's where your clients are going to learn, because you want to turn them into fantastic self-preventers and to have them learn the habits so they don't deal with this in the future. And the tools are where it makes your job easiest. They already have it. You point them towards it, and then you follow up next week. What Gerry said was prepare them. Gerry used a key word: plan, plan, plan. It's key in everything we do. It affects our habits. It affects the program when they're on program. So assisting them, the logistical, easy, helping them plan for the weekend is a big deal, getting them to think that way. But going back and actually reading and understanding and learning where the obstacle really is, where the trigger, where the choice is coming from, will help everybody better overcome that obstacle and build a new habit pattern. Stop, challenge, choose, which Dr. A teaches, is something that affects all areas of life. And I apologize, I have to jump off for the night. I have another training I have to go do at 7 p.m. And I appreciate you all for being on here, and thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Matt. Say, if I could too, maybe for next time we're together, we can maybe bring in some more questions again ahead of time so we are set, because we're kind of out of time here. So Gerry, I want to turn it back to you. We've got about a minute or so left. And if you want to wrap us up and head us off into the future, that'd be fantastic.
I want to remind you all, by the way, of the use of a three-way call as a problem solver when your clients bring up a problem like this particular one. Bring in a little more horsepower and another point of view, and what you'll do is you find that person may look at things a little bit differently. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is why I love this program, and why I just want you to understand how wonderful some of this can be. The most amazing thing to me has been my family. First of all, most of you know I have 6 children, 5 boys, 1 perfect child. I've already talked to you about my perfect child and her journey and how wonderful, 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 wonderful that's been. It makes me almost cry when I think about it. What I didn't tell you is that I have my oldest son and my daughter-in-law, Amy, have both lost, well, about 35 pounds. My son, Steve, sent me a picture of his scale yesterday and told me that he is now down to the same weight that he had when he was competing as a nationally ranked decathlon athlete. And the only tricky part is he's 52, and he said, you know, Dad, I think I'm going to go and try for the seniors decathlon again. And I tried to remind him about his hamstring. But anyway, the point is that I have a daughter-in-law and son who are, it has been amazing what a difference it has been that they're feeling so good. They're like 2 different people. It's just incredible. I've got another son and daughter-in-law who I would never have believed needed this program. And the interesting thing is that my son Mark is incredibly fit. He was a world-class 100-meter runner, so he's always been fit. He's in the National Guard. He's an athletic director and a football coach. So he is really fit. But he just wanted to take off about 14 pounds. His wife wanted to take off about 24 pounds. And the amazing thing is that I could go down the line of my children, and there's, I can tell you 6 or 7 success stories just in the family. You all have a family too. You have a family in your studio. And the more you can get your people kind of telling that little story, that's why we do the pictures ahead of time. I wish I had learned that sooner. But the other thing is, it's the reason you want to get people excited enough that they post on Facebook, because guess what? They're going to get asked questions. It's going to open that door for referrals for you. So I just want to thank everybody for having been here, and I hope some of you are having some of the joy that you can get from doing this. And I also hope you've gotten the message that there's a lot of people here who care about you, who want you to succeed, and you should feel free to reach out. You can see a lot. There's a lot of people here, and this is not the whole crew. So I wish you a lot of success. And if you've learned one thing, it, by the way, is also think about these things, polish some of your techniques. 3-way calls will help you to do it. And you plan your, this is your practice. I like to think of it as a health coaching practice within the perfect workout. We've got a fitness practice, a muscle building practice, and we've got this. And it's your practice. And we're seeing now some great success, and we're going to see a lot more success. I see great success in everyone's future.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And we'll post this video and have it available for review. And we'll also get our plan out for the next session that we're going to have. So long, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Bye now.